Hey guys, it's Chuck at Timberbend Farm, and today we're in the barn-dominium. Hey, guess what? It's been a few days since we've done anything out here. It's actually been a little longer than that, probably a couple weeks. But the weather hadn't been cooperating. It's been really cold. We don't have, of course, any heat in here yet. We had insulation, and I guess we could put a heater in here and do some work, and we'll probably do that before it's all over with. But right now we're going to be just working on some insulation. Got a spray gun here. Bought that off of Amazon. I'll put a link to this in the description below. And then we have Great Stuff door and window spray foams, polyurethane spray foam. If you're doing around doors and windows, be sure and get the door and window polyurethane foam. It doesn't expand quite so much. You can actually, if you use the regular Great Stuff, you can actually push your door and windows out of square with that polyurethane. This only expands minimally, so it'll give you a good seal without messing anything up. All right, I'm gonna unpackage this thing and take a look here and see exactly what to do. It looks like it comes with some additional tips that you can use to get back in different places. And I think it said that you can actually buy additional tips to go with this gun as well. So there's your gun. It has an on-off feature where it, oh, you heard that? Where it actually, you can shut the can off or turn it on, and that comes in handy, and I'll show you why here in a little while. So, all right, because we're working in a pretty easy to get to space, I'm gonna go with one of these little short tips that came with, and that just presses, has a press fit. I'll be right back. That just has a press fit over some barbs on the end of the tube there. So put those on there like that. I watched the setup video that came with this on Amazon. It was pretty informative. There's a on-off valve here. Instead of push that valve in the open position, you take your can, you will open it up, and then the can will screw right down on top of this gun. I heard it hiss just a little bit, which led me to believe that it's pressurized and ready to go. Now, all you gotta do is pull this trigger. Spray foam will come out the end. So we've got a gap here, as you can see, between our door and the framework. And so ideally you wanna put your tip back in the back there, spray, and you can kind of see that foam. You probably don't want to spray all the way to the edge initially because that foam is going to expand a little bit. So I would say you do a nice bead of foam down the crack. And if you have to, you can come back and add more to it later. And I got a little bit much right there. I'm trying to keep that off my door. So I'm doing this out in the shop part, and so if I get a little something on something out here, it's not going to be quite as critical as if in the house. This will give me a chance to practice some. All right, so that has set up, and you kind of see there's a little divot right back in here. So we're going to come in here, just shoot that hole right there, a little extra. And if you get a little bit too much, you can always take a razor knife and trim it off. Once it sets up, it trims really easy. So I'm gonna practice with this on this door out here in my shop, and you can kind of see daylight back through there. So that's exactly the reason why we're putting this this foam in these gaps, is to seal off any air penetration in the future. All right, so that's gonna wrap it up for today. A couple of suggestions for you. The gun performed pretty well. I was really happy that it never stopped up or clogged up or anything. I've got some cleanup to do on it. The one recommendation I would make is that the tips that come with it, they seem to knock off very easily when you're in a really tight joint. The joint will kind of grab that tip and hold on to it, and you've got to take your fingers and dig in there and try to get that out. So my suggestion would be to go without a tip to start with and go around and get all your wide joints. If you've got a really wide joint up here at the top, like as wide as the stem of this or wider, I would go ahead and do that joint first on all your doors. I had 8 exterior doors to do, and I figured this out about the 6th door, so it didn't help me a lot, but maybe it'll help you. So do all your wide joints first, and then come back and put your tip on, and then do the little fine joints last. If you've got a really tiny joint, like an eighth up to maybe a quarter of an inch, it's really hard to get that to push back in there. I would even say maybe get some interior exterior caulk and just go ahead and caulk that shut rather than worry about getting spray foam back in there. Obviously, if you can get the spray foam in there, works much better. But it's really hard to get a really nice clean line on that. You can always go back with a razor knife and trim those edges off, but just for ease of use, just kind of do the big part first, then come back with your tip and do all those small parts. Hey, that's all I got for you today. Appreciate you watching. Like this video, hit subscribe. We'll show you some more later. Catch you on the next video.